Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Marvel Strike Force today, and we have a new strike spot for the 7th anniversary that I want to talk about in today's video with some pretty big information. Now, obviously, some of this is going to be a little bit of a ways away, but I want to share some of the information that was in here. We're going to go over the strike spot a little bit in today's video as well. We're going to talk about some of the things that both Pathfinder and the general manager of Boundless Studios, Ryan Jacobs, had said on the strike spot as well, and some upcoming details. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. All right. So this was a 15-minute video. We're going to be running this on a 1.25x. We're going to start towards the beginning where I feel that it was most relevant. There was a handful of good things here to talk about. They did some little bit of introduction. I introduced Ryan Jacobson, that kind of thing. If you don't know who he is, again, general manager of Marvel Strike Force and of Boundless Studios. So let's just jump on ahead. Hopefully the sound isn't too bad. I want to jump ahead a little bit to about 240 or so, 235 around here.
About Battle World returning, and at the end of the video, I did a little bit of a teaser that we're already working on the second instance of Battle World. So I wanted to know what are some more details that we can share about that.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, I think Battle World is one of those modes we need to continually iterate on. There's some changes that we're working on right now. I think there's some bigger changes that we also want to get out before the next iteration of Battle World 2 comes out. But yeah, I would say, when we created this mode, kind of the boss fights themselves, I get really excited for. We know we don't always want it to be kind of a big baddie. So I think I can let you know that the next one will be kind of a different side. We'll be fighting a good guy.
So that's most important. We'll continue it in a minute here. So instead of a big bad, there is going to be a big good, or a good person. And they give a little bit more of a hint as to who that might be.
And I think one of those hero fights that I'm expecting will be pretty epic. It is a pretty relevant character that's going to be coming in. He's going to be coming into the MCU this year as well. Someone that.
So if you heard that, someone that's going to be coming into the MCU this year. Now, I think that I've been keeping track of a lot of different things. I mean, let me know in the comments down below if I missed something. But as far as like what could be Battle World worthy, and that is coming to the MCU this year that I am aware of, I mean, maybe I've missed something. I'm thinking Thunderbolts, maybe Sentry. That's one. As far as a character that would be grand enough to be like a big boss in Battle World. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking there. He's quite powerful, right? And he's going to be in the Thunderbolts movie, I'm pretty sure. That being said, I think they're targeting a different time for that. The other would be the Fantastic Four movie. And I guess if it's, I don't know, like a variant of Reed Richards. If it's a hero character, I'm not sure. There might be something later on in the year that I might be missing. But let me know in the comments down below as far as other MCU release titles later on. I guess there's Daredevil's out next month. It's probably not Daredevil related, but yeah, that's the first thing that kind of pops out of my head would be Sentry, because he's quite powerful. But it could be like Reed Richards is a very important character in the Marvel universe, so maybe they might do something with that. I mean, just because he's not like big and strong as such doesn't mean that they couldn't just make him a boss, I guess, in Battle World. I don't know, it could be like a tech Reed Richards
that I get really excited for. So I think the next iteration hopefully gets people pumped up for what we come out with.
Awesome. And any idea of when we could be expecting that?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be probably around September. That's our aim right now. There's some changes, like I said, that we want to make to that mode.
So some September releases for the next Battle World 2. They did talk about wanting to make updates, making sure the Battle World 1 is in a decent spot as they've been continually tuning this. Hopefully that they can make it into a game mode that we like to play, right? Like the first version that came back last week was mixed, right? Like a lot of it was auto, but maybe there's some room for improvement. Hope is not completely lost. I feel that Battle World was in a better spot. I feel like if they added more difficulties, I feel like if they added more, a little bit tougher, in my opinion anyways, that it would be a challenging piece of content that players would like to play. But I just feel like they're not future-proofing it enough, and that's the biggest problem, is that things are kind of done on day one, and content should never be completely cleared that early. That's just my opinion.
So right now, our tentative plans is to get that Battle World 2 out starting in September.
Awesome. Well, definitely be on the lookout, commanders, for more info on that. I am very excited to hear that a hero is going to be
Next thing
the next big
is
thing
about 4:30
that's
over
coming
here.
in 2025. So I want to ask, what's the most exciting thing that's coming in 2025 that you're excited for personally?
Yeah, there's two things there. I would say there's a new game mode that we're working on right now that we have a small little
New game mode being worked on for Marvel Strike Force. I was blown away when I first heard this because I was in disbelief that this was even going to be a possibility based on Battle World, but
team that's actively working on that we want to try and get out really early on and get into our players' hands so we can constantly kind of iterate on it. I think that's one of the valuable lessons learned from Battle World. I think Battle World, we spent a little bit too much time doing internal development before we got that into our players' hands, and then we learned a lot when we got into our players' hands. So that's one of the things that we're hoping will come out hopefully Q1, Q2, where we're actively.
So this is interesting. They're talking about Q1, Q2 of this year, which is basically like between now. Oh, well, I mean, it's not now, right? So upwards till June, right? That's the end of Q2. So that's fairly soon, all things considered. That's like within the next 4 months, right? So they make it sound like we're going to be beta testing it. That they're going to spend less time in the shop with it, but they're going to get it out to the players' hands, maybe in some sort of preseason kind of form, whatever this is. Way that we can play it, and then I guess give mass feedback, right? Because we're always the beta testers when it comes to RL Strike Force. But anyways,
really working
regardless,
as fast as we can on that. I would love to say more about it, but I actually want one of the lead designers hopefully to do one of these soon, so he can actually talk about it because he's put a lot of time and energy into that. But I would also say the one that I'm the most excited about is we're really doing a lot of work on the seasonal framework right now, what we call kind of ages, right? The Age of X that we're in right now. There's going to be some pretty drastic changes that we're going to roll out to the community pretty soon, and I think they're all going to be really beneficial for all player types. And so that is the one thing that I'm really excited about this year.
Okay, very cool. New game mode. That sounds really exciting. Is there any other details we can give about that, or are we gonna hold that close to the vest for now?
Well, I would say we're gonna hold it close to the vest, but for those who know games, it is a roguelike game mode.
So that's interesting. If you know the roguelike game mode style, so maybe a little bit sandboxy as well, where maybe you can choose some things. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not sure what kind of shape that could take in Marvel Strike Force. I feel like the creativity in the game has declined. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's declined, but I guess it's never really been there as far as these kinds of game modes. So they'd have to definitely like create something brand new in that sense, and I will be interested to see, I guess, what they come up with, because and I'm hoping it's probably PvE, because otherwise they would have mentioned it doesn't sound like PvP, and that's the kind of thing that I want in Marvel Strike Force. And if you watch my video from a little bit earlier on today, I just feel like that's where the game is most lacking, is that reasonable PvE has never really been there. But
so if you know what that is, you might be pretty excited, but I think it's going to be a cool little experience where it's going to feel different and unique every time you go in. You're going to kind of build up your roster, and you're going to have new fun ways to play with kind of our characters in ways that you've never done before.
And don't forget about the rewards. New game mode, more rewards.
They always go hand in hand, for sure.
Well, you hit on the seasons a little bit. I want to talk about the kind of age or season that we're in right now, which is the Age of X. That's going to come to its kind of crescendo, its conclusion here soon. So what kind of details can we give the players right now on the conclusion of the Age of X?
Yeah, right now we have a lot of people that are actively working on some of the kind of the last beats there, in terms of kind of what do we want that experience to feel like. Do we want it to feel like a traditional Dark Dimension? Do we want it to feel a little bit more unique, kind of like the Apoc Saga was? So we're playing around with some ideas right now, so I can't confirm.
I'm surprised that they still haven't confirmed whether or not it's a Dark Dimension or an Age of Apocalypse style mission type of thing. I'm not sure it really matters, to be honest, at this point. I mean, we know that it's going to be, Xavier's going to be a 60 node thing. The fact that it's like, I would say Xavier's probably less, about a month away. I would say a month and a half away. I'm surprised they don't know the final details of that, but I guess as long as they make the 60 nodes, does it really matter necessarily what it is or not? I mean, they just put the restrictions on it, and there you go. So I don't think it really matters that much, but yeah, I'm surprised a little bit.
From either way of which we're going, because we really want to get it into our hands and kind of play it and see which one we feel like feels better. But I would say that we want this experience to feel a little bit different than the kind of.
Yeah, so they talk about the next upcoming.
Yeah, I think the main goal that we're aiming for is more kind of episodic, more of kind of a chapter based bits of content that we want to get into our players' hands. So think of it as kind of we're roughly saying a quarter, right? So a 3 month kind of chapter, quote unquote, and then you'll move into chapter 2, then you'll move into chapter 3, and then the conclusion with chapter 4. But we want to make some pretty big changes there. We're still actively kind of aligning on some of those things right now, but I would say it's going to be a drastic difference from anything any player is used to that's played this game for any amount of time. We want the players' reception and how they react to it is.
Very cool. Very cool. Do we know who the next is going to be?
This is important here.
Yeah, we do. It's going to be the Age of Annihilus.
Okay, so he has confirmed that the next, what's probably going to be a 1 year long, is going to be the Age of Annihilus, aka Annihilus. Now, I'll be honest, I am not the most versed in this character. I do believe he's most related to the Fantastic Four. This might make a little bit of sense because the movie for Fantastic Four is coming out. I know that he's not in it, but nonetheless, pretty big villain to the Fantastic Four, if I'm not mistaken, which is probably why I don't know a ton about him, because I don't keep up a ton with the Fantastic Four lore and all of that stuff. That also, I don't know if they're gonna is why maybe we might see Reed Richards in Battle World 2. I don't know, maybe because they talked about entering the MCU, things like that for that. So I wonder if there would be some comparison, if it would tie in with some sort of story related to Annihilus in some way, that Battle World is also connected in some way. That I'm not entirely sure, because I know that Null was mentioned actually in the storyline in some of the showcases. So there's a possibility that that would also mean that there would be a connection between the Battle World character and the next age. So interesting stuff there. Let me know. Some people were a little bit disappointed that it wasn't Onslaught, and I'll tell you, if you've been following the channel, then you probably know why it's not Onslaught, because he's going to be a character released later on. And so given the fact that it is not the age, is not the next, Onslaught's not the next age, and is not Battle World, then yes, we know that he is eventually coming to the game. There we go. Let's move on.
We want to kind of, ping pong off of a kind of hero, a villain, and I think Annihilus is one of those really cool characters who people who know, especially the comic book lore, right? We're going to also try and stick a little bit more to kind of some cool narrative around him, but this will be, the next age will be the Age of Annihilus.
Well, I gotta say, there is a lot coming up.
So one thing I want to jump on, this was, I think, around here, it's quite important, where they talk about the state of the game. I think this is really
that
good.
Works on this game, that we're always constantly learning from the things that are working, things that maybe aren't working. Battle World's a great example of that. I think a lot of players had opinions on it. I think there were some positive opinions. There was some definitely critical feedback. I think when we get it back into our players' hands, there's a lot of excitement internally about how we think it will be received. So hopefully there's a lot of positive reception there. And then I would just say that we know there's a lot that we continually want to work on and kind of adjust and make sure that the community, has the game that they really love to play, right? And I think that's one of the things that we're really pushing on this year is finding the fun again, right? Because I think if you look,
that is probably the most, that was the biggest admittance, is that a word? Of, where the state of the game of Marvel Strike Force is right now, right? Finding the fun again. And I'm really glad, and I actually, I've been in a meeting with Ryan Jacobson, and I can really appreciate the bluntness and the honesty that comes that he says, to be honest, because I think that they do actually understand some of the, I hope that they understand some of this over there, that the game hasn't been in the best spot. If you've been following my channel and my videos, you know that the player numbers and the revenue has been on decline in Marvel Strike Force. And I really hope that they understand that enough to want to bring that back, to stem the quitting, to provide a more meaningful and more fun environment and experience. So I'm hoping that some of the stuff that was mentioned in here does help us get there.
look back at last year, there was definitely times where I would say, like, I'm not really having fun playing this game right now. And I think that's something that games should always be providing for their players, right? Is an excitement, delight, and really an enjoyment overall every day that you're playing these games. And so we really want to find that again this year. And I think there's a lot of amazing work that we're going to be releasing throughout the year that hopefully people will start to see that and get really excited again. But overall, I would just say that there's a lot of things that are in the hopper right now that we're actively working on. And so hopefully soon we'll be releasing kind of the overall roadmap for the year to you and to the group. And then we'll make sure that we get feedback from kind of the community, the player council, as we always do. And then we'll continually kind of go from there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving your time today to do this. I know that
was pretty much it. The rest of it's just random other stuff here. And I think honestly that was pretty telling. I'm really appreciative that they did that for the community, because I think it's really important to get some and the like I said, the bluntness as well of Ryan Jacobson of just admitting and saying some of these things, because it's good for us to hear as players that we feel like we're being listened to some extent. So that's going to be it for this kind of review of the Strike Spot 7th anniversary edition that came out today. That's going to replace the blog. I'm not going to be doing a blog video later on. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. So just to recap what happened here today, the second instance of Battle World 2 coming out in September. Some good guy related to a character coming to the MCU. Let me know who your thoughts are in the comments down below. A new game mode being worked on that's going to be coming out within the next 4 months, really, in some roguelike game mode, or roguelike, sorry. And then Age of Annihilus, right? You know, that's going to be the next big guy, and finding the fun again in Marvel Strike Force. So I think we can end with that and hope that, you know, in the times ahead that things are a little bit more fun, right? So that's it for now, everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.